What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing great today. I am coming to you on Friday, June 21st, 2019, the first day of summer. Hashtag summer 19. I hope you have your summer bodies ready, and I hope you have a lot of fun things planned for this season because this is a season that matters. Everyone loves summer. And if you like winter and fall, you can go to hell for all I care. Summer is the time of the year. But we are back for episode 24 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. I want to thank you for joining me today. And as always, thank you for taking the time to support the content you find here on MMA Ratings. We just cracked the 100th subscriber mark this week. And we are now at 101, which means a lot to me. But honestly, for a while, I didn't think we'd ever get there, but that means a lot to me. I hope we continue to see this channel grow as we continue to develop content. I want to begin bringing new content to this platform as I make time to do so. But I wanted to thank you all for hopping along with us on this ride and just taking the time to listen to our content, no matter how often you listen to it or how long you listen to our content. So to stay up to date on everything we're doing, please click on the subscribe button, subscribe to our channel, and also like and share our content across the social media channels as well too, so more people can get involved and get on board. Today I am talking about three topics. Two ones are, well, all three of them are pretty big, pretty interesting to me. The first is WWE Stomping Grounds, a pay-per-view that almost everyone kind of forgot was going on, including myself, which is set for this Sunday. We'll do a little bit of a preview for that. We're going to talk G1 Climax because those blocks came out this week, early or late last week. We're also going to talk about Scarlett Bordeaux as well, who I think is the hottest woman in wrestling free agency right now, and I mean that as like hot prospect, not as in hot attractiveness or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, we have a few different things to talk about, and I just want to kind of jump right into it and start with my Stomping Grounds preview. And it's interesting because I've been listening to a couple of different previews on this show, a couple of different podcasts of people who've been talking about it. And everyone's commentary around this has been very interesting because no one seems to be up on it. There's a lot of this is just a rehash. It's a major rehash of everything that has happened last month at the Super Showdown or whatever the hell that show in Saudi Arabia was called. And I mean, look at it. It's nothing. It's a bunch of rematches plus the addition of women's matches. But something about this card tells me that there's going to be an intriguing change made. And I don't mean something massive like both Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins losing their title. Although I think one of them it will lose their belt. I am having a feeling that one of them will lose their belt, and I'm leaning Rollins right now. We have Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans, Samoa Joe versus Ricochet, The New Day versus Owens and Zayn, Tony Nese versus Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak, and Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan against Heavy Machinery. So let's go ahead and kind of dive right into this preview and talk about some of the things we expect to see on Sunday evening. When I wrote the matches down today, I didn't go in any type of order or anything like that, so I'm not sure the match order. Don't really care to kind of look that up. But I am going to kind of go through some of these in order I think that they'll happen. So starting at the bottom, I believe that Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan will defend their titles against Heavy Machinery probably early in the night on the kickoff show. And looking at this, I really hope they keep the titles on Rowan and Daniel Bryan just because Daniel Bryan is a gift that keeps on giving in professional wrestling. He's just so good at every single thing that he does that it's unbearable to imagine him without the title. I don't want to see that. I don't want that situation to occur because, like, I don't know how well, let me take a step back. He can be prominent with or without a belt, but I think that having him in the tag team title picture makes that group much more interesting and much more important. They put these belts on Heavy Machinery, and we're not going to see them for weeks. I mean, The Revival won the tag team titles, and before that they were on the Major Brothers, which was Kirk Hawkins and who's the other guy, Zack Ryder. I totally forgot that they had those titles, but they were never on TV. Even now, I can't think of after the Revival won the tag team belts, they haven't defended them. They're not even defending them on this show. They've been pigeonholed into that storyline around Shane McMahon, where again they're not getting any time on air. They're not getting any time to be the top guys that we know that they are. So here we are, where we saw the Revival were upset. They got the tag team titles twice, and they're still not on TV. So you mean to tell me if they take these belts off of Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan and put them on Heavy Machinery, we won't see that same situation here? I guarantee you, Heavy Machinery will not be on television, just like the Iconics are being made a joke of every single week because they're barely winning it. They're barely doing anything. They might have some good backstage segments, but you know how I feel about those two women, talent aside. So I'm just not fans of it. I feel like this match has to be won by Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan because Heavy Machinery, they just aren't. They just are just another. They're just another joke team that would not help this tag team division in any way, shape, or form. Next, we have Tony Nese versus Akira Tozawa and Drew Gulak. I think they're going to put that belt on Gulak. Nese is the current champion. He's not much of a draw. He's not like a name like Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander was. He's not someone that's really drawing attention to that 205 Live brand. Drew Gulak, I'm loving what they've been doing with Gulak. Having him on NXT, he had a great match with Matt Riddle. He squashed Eric Bugenhagen. Him and Kushida has been having great matches. Let's keep that going. I think that they put the title on him. I think that they put the title on him as a way to get it on to Kushida eventually. I'm not sure if you saw their submission match from a couple weeks back, but it's been my favorite NXT match probably of this month outside of the takeover that occurred. But Tony Nese, Akira Tozawa, and Drew Gulak, this has an opportunity. This is the type of match that can steal the show easily. I am hoping they put that belt on Gulak. I think it's time. I think he's a good heel. He's a great worker in between the ropes. I mean, why not just put the belt on him and see what he can do? I think he's very entertaining, and I would love to see him take that belt back and forth between 205 Live and NXT. Next up, we have the New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and I think this match is more interesting than it should be because for a couple of reasons. Was it Raw? I don't think it was Raw this past week. I think it was the one before. But the cameraman missed a key moment in that match where Kofi Kingston was. I think him and Seth. Was it a three? It may have been a 3-on-3 match. I'm not sure. But the sequence was Sami Zayn and Dolph Ziggler were attacking Kofi, and Dolph goes a super kick and he misses, hits Sami. Then Dolph goes a super kick Kingston again, but Xavier Woods runs in and attempts to push Kingston out the way, but he takes the super kick. The camera completely missed it. You can't even see it, but you see Dolph back up the super kick, throw it, then you see Woods' head snap around, and he falls out the ring, out of the ring. And Kofi hits the Trouble in Paradise and gets the pinfall. They're setting up for the angle where Biggie and Woods turn on Kingston. And this match, I think they're going to lose in a way where Owens and Zayn have help. The New Day don't get that same type of support from Kingston for whatever reason it may be, and that's going to continue to set that undercurrent that they're going to turn on him at some point in time, with Biggie getting the bigger push and Xavier Woods being like his mouthpiece. I see it coming. Everyone's seen it coming. It's been slowly developing over these last few months. I'm interested in it, but I just hope we don't end up in a situation where all three men are kind of pushed by the wayside for the status quo. once again. But I do see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn getting this win. They haven't been getting booked with very many wins as of late. I think both of them are very talented, very valuable men on that roster. I would love to see Zayn. I'm surprised he still hasn't had an individual title run on the main roster. I would love to see Owens remain in that picture. I think he's been in that picture pretty much most of the time there, former Universal Champion. But I think they are going to pick up the win, and I think that they're going to continue to set the stage for the turn angle that includes the New Day. Then we have Samoa Joe versus Ricochet. I think Ricochet is going to pick up this win. I would have loved to have seen Cesaro in this match instead, or even make it a three-way. But I think that Ricochet is going to pick up the win. I think that they're going to give him his first mid-card title on the main roster. I'm okay with that. I don't know how far up the roster he's ever going to go, but it will be interesting seeing him with this belt around his waist. It's interesting because I wonder if his career is going to be similar to that of a Ziggler or a Kingston, where they middled around the mid-card tag team division for so long, and then people disrespected their work so much that they were eventually elevated to the main roster. So let's see what that kind of looks like. But both of these individuals should be able to put on a great show. Again, Samoa Joe is another one who he's been United States champion. I think this is his first title run with on the main roster, but it's unfortunate because the dude's the truth. Samoa Joe is great in everything that he does. You forget how great he's been throughout his career. I wish that the WWE could have got him sooner when he was younger, but he's still fantastic. And that chronicle that they did about him, I think last year, before he faced Brock, that is still one of my favorite pieces of content on. You can find it on WWE Network. You can also find it on WWE YouTube. But back to this match, I do think that they're going to give it to Ricochet, and this will be his first main roster title run. Then I have Kofi Kingston versus Ziggler up next, and this and the Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins match, I think that they're interesting because I don't believe they're going to give us the same exact thing that they gave us from Saudi Arabia. I don't think Rollins and Ziggler are winning. Originally, I was looking at Baron like, are they going to put that title on Baron? Especially when you look at they have the stipulation that there's going to be a guest referee. We don't know who that may be right now. I don't think it's going to be Brock Lesnar. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe it'll be a Paul Heyman or something like that. But I don't know if it would make sense for that to be the special guest referee and for that individual to help Corbin beat Rollins, because Rollins wants to, or excuse me, Lesnar wants to clearly beat Seth for that title. So it'll be interesting to see if that's what happens, that's what occurs. But I don't think that they're going to go that route in any way. That's probably the only little bit of intrigue I have around that match. Ziggler versus Kingston. I think this is going to be a good match. Both of those men can go. Both of those men are great in between the ropes. But what is the continued story here? Yeah, it should have been me. It should have been me. It should have been me. But that isn't enough to get me really invested. I'm looking at this as I mentioned just now, as a catalyst for the New Day split. Something is going to happen on Sunday that will continue that narrative. I'm not saying that the full split will happen on Monday or Sunday, but something's going to continue to happen to help further that story along and kind of put it in the back of everyone's head. With that being the focal point. And I see something happening where you either have a New Day three-way at SummerSlam, or you have Kingston versus Big E at some point in time as a match on SummerSlam. Rollins versus Corbin, again, as I was saying earlier, I don't know who that the special guest referee is going to be. Don't really care. Think it's going to be. I'm going to put my stake on Paul Heyman because I don't think it's going to be Brock Lesnar. but everyone will be watching for that day. I think they did a good job in not announcing or revealing that, because if it's not something big, I think that's not going to help everyone. It's not going to help talk people into tuning in. So it's going to be like, yeah, whatever. So I've already kind of said I do believe that Corbin is going to win the belt. I think he's going to end up dropping the title for excuse me. I think that Rollins is going to end up dropping the title here, and there's going to be some shenanigans around the Money in the Bank cash in as well too. So just keep an eye on that. I think that that's the intrigue that they're hanging around this match to keep it interesting, keep people tuned in and wanting to watch. But I'm not too let me talk about Corbin for a second as well too, because a lot of people do not like him, but I think he's good in the ring. He's a good character, but he's just been shoved down our throats so much that he's becoming unbearable. And it's unfortunate because he's a great worker. He's been doing good work between the ropes. He's been doing good work as a heel. And he's one of the only individuals that can get heat and keep heat. But the heat that he gets is almost is go away heat. So much so because the WWE made it clear that it's his fault that ratings were down. So if the ratings were down because of him, why do they continuously push him in front of us and make us think that he is a viable heel, a viable top contender? I mean, hell, before last week they had him lose to the New Day. Was it on the same mat on the same night? They had him lose to the New Day like it was nothing. Just take the pin because he was left out there by himself. So you have to wonder what the overall goal is for him. I wish that they would take him off of TV for a little while. I don't think there's any way that they can turn him into a face. I wish that they would take him off of TV for a little while because Corbin was someone that was coming up at NXT who could have been managed better, especially when he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. But it hasn't played out right. And I think that is because of the booking that he's been given, where he's just continuously shoved down our throats. Give me 1 second. Let me grab a sip. This brings me to um, Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans, and it's funny because I was looking at Twitter over the week earlier this week, and I was having a conversation basically with myself. But I was like, "Are we headed for a situation where we could leave Stomping Grounds this week and have both of the women's titles held by blonde women, blonde white women, which would piss people off? Me, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't be the first time they've done it, but you know that they have an archetype in the women's division. Someone who looks like Lacey, someone who looks like Charlotte, someone who looks like Alexa Bliss. That's what they continuously push. It should not surprise us in any way, shape, or form. It shouldn't surprise us that that's what they're pushing down our throats. And now Alexa Bliss and Lacey Evans are challenging for the title. I think that Evans is going to take the belt off of Lynch. It's their second title shot in as many months. And we know that they're high on her. We know that they have her featured pretty prominently ever since the Royal Rumble this year. We know that they're going to do something big with her. We continuously see her doing media, talking about being a mom, talking about being a Marine, et cetera, et cetera. So you know that they have something big planned for her. So I'm not sure how they keep that going, but it's clear that WWE Creative, under whose direction it may be, has decided to kind of cool Becky Lynch off, which I think is hilarious and is unfortunate. It's sad because we're just 2 months away, almost 3 months away removed from her historic night at WrestleMania, where, to be honest, I think without Ronda Rousey, I don't think that match happens, but without Becky Lynch, I don't think that match happens either, or at least not as a main event slot. And that's what's important to watch. That's what's important to know, because when you recognize a booking that's coming down the line and that belt being taken off of Lynch, It shouldn't surprise anyone, especially with how quickly they took the Becky Two Belts moniker away from her. So it's unfortunate, and we'll see what happens in the near future. But I do not think she is leaving Stomping Grounds as the Raw Women's Champion. And then on the flip side of that, you have Bayley and Alexa Bliss, and this is an opportunity for WWE Creative to get it right. When they messed up Bayley back with her first feud with Bliss, it never got. They were never able to get it right. They almost had it right again when they started that feud between her and Sasha, but then they pushed it to the side for that stupid what is it, therapy angle that they did for so long. So we're so much we've come a long ways, but haven't come a long way at the same time because we're back with Bliss being the top contender, Bayley being the champion. But this version of Bayley looks and sounds very different. Some of the things she's saying, and it's not necessarily all smile and hug. It's, hey, I'm the champ now. I'm going to be a little bit of a jerk because I know that you're hunting for me. In the wild card here, I can't even use that phrase, but the wild card here is Nikki Cross because right now she's aligned with Bliss, but she isn't a heel. It's clear because people are still cheering for her. The fans still get behind her. I think she's an interesting option in this women's division because she's just so different than all the other ladies, and I think that's important to recognize. Without it, again, we're back to the same old thing with the same old women, and I think that what I would like to see is Bliss lose. She tries to turn on Nikki Cross, and Cross snaps and basically beats the brakes off of her, setting her up as the next contender after a quick feud with Bayley. But I do have Bayley coming out of Stomping Grounds as the Women's SmackDown Champion. The last match that we are going to talk about today is the Roman Reigns Drew McIntyre match that we've seen time and 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 time again. Drew McIntyre needs to get the hell away from Roman Reigns as far as possible. I don't think he wins this match, and if he does, you're going to hear about him going through him with like some help or whatever. I just think that whenever McIntyre and Reigns are booked against each other in big matches, we know Reigns is going to win. That's why when he was booked against Roman at WrestleMania, we all know we all knew how that was going to go down. Now the Shane McMahon angle in the storyline makes it a little bit more interesting, but you know how I feel about Shane, and I want him to get the fuck off my television. I would love to create that hashtag, but I just have not gotten around to do so. Maybe I'll do that during Stomping Grounds this week, but I do not think McIntyre is going to beat Roman Reigns. I think that we need to find a situation where we get Roman as far away from McIntyre as possible because it is damaging McIntyre's overall stock. However, like I said, I do expect Roman to come out on top on Sunday, and I don't know what's next for him as I continue to look at as a wrestler in that work that we do. Whatever, I just hope that McIntyre gets away from Reigns and like has his own run. Put him on SmackDown. I don't think he's go anywhere near NXT. He's too big for that, like, big as a character. But I definitely think that they need to get him away from Roman Reigns and build him up into that monster heel that we all know he can be. However, all that said and done, Roman Reigns is winning this damn match on Sunday. So, next segment, wanted to talk about G1 Climax because, like I said, those matches were announced this week. I am a virgin when it comes to G1 Climax and much New Japan content as a whole because I don't watch a lot of it. But I am looking forward to this G1 simply because I am going to make this my first one. I'm going to sit down, watch as much of it as I possibly can. Definitely catch the finals when they're at Dominion, I believe that is, but whenever the finals are. But the G1 Climax starts on July 6th, runs through August 12th, and I'm gonna do the best I can to watch it. I have a New Japan World excuse me, account for their streaming services, and it's right there for me to utilize. I just need to do a better job about that. But Everyone seems to be pretty interested and pretty excited about this climax because no one has any idea what's going to happen. I, for one, sure as hell don't. I don't know all the people in it. I could probably point out if you had like flashcards with everyone's face on it. I would probably get 50 to 60% of everybody on this card. And this what's funny, or everyone in the climax. And what's funny is like so many of them. Since it's New Japan, I would get a lot of the non-Japanese people right based off the fact just that because their names. But we have two blocks set up, and for those who are dumb like me, there's this is kind of I would call it the Wrestling World Cup, kind of like that. You know how the blocks are set up for group play in the World Cup. Teams get points for wins, they get points for draws, and they get points for losses. G1 is the same thing, where you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for a loss, and people with the most points out of Block A and Block B reach the finals, and then they wrestle each other. But I'm not sure what they're wrestling for. I think it's for a title shot. I think it's for a title shot, like the Royal Rumble or something like that. Let me see. Let me see. Um, Let me see. I'm not. Yeah. So the two winners from each pool they meet in the final, and then I think that individual gets a title shot. Yeah, it's a heavyweight match. It's basically a title match at Wrestle Kingdom. So this year, something interesting about this year, this is going to be the first one where the event starts outside of the United States. The first time that a G1 show has taken place outside Japan, where it will begin in Dallas. But let's talk about the two blocks. We have Block A, which is Lance Archer, Evil, Bad Luck Fale, Kota Ibushi, Kenta, also known as the former Hideo Itami, Kazuki. Well, we have Okada, Osprey, Zack Sabre Jr., Sonata, and Tanahashi. Let's see, out of this group, I believe Okada and Tanahashi are the only winners. Then you have in Block B, Jeff Cobb, Goto, Ishii, Moxley, Naito, Juice Robinson, Taichi, Tagaki, Jay White, and Yano. I don't know much about any of those Japanese wrestlers. What I can tell you, though, is I know a lot about, not a lot, I know more about some of the other ones in there. So, with that in mind, want to kind of talk about, let me see something. Let's see which former, so Tanahashi's won one before, so Tanahashi's won three, Okada's won two. Let's see who else is in this one that has won. Naito, I think Naito's in it, right? Did say his name? Yep. He's won two, and that's it. Naito's won two, and he's it. Um, so let's kind of let's talk about these two blocks. Now again, I don't know much about the way this format is going to play out, but if I had to pick a winner, someone I want to see win, Kota Ibushi, just because I'm a fan of this guy. He's never been IWGP champion. Actually, you know what? As I say that, let me shut the fuck up and let me actually check. Give me 2 seconds to check. But I believe in myself. I believe that he's never been IWGP champion. Nope, he has not. Just about every other belt though. So I am picking him to come out on top to win the G1 this year and get a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom. But listening to a lot of the preview shows I've been listening to, everyone seems to be betting on Tanahashi to set up a rematch between him and Okada because he won the Wrestle Kingdom. He won the title of Wrestle Kingdom this past year, lost the belt back to Okada, and winning the G1 can set up a rematch between the two. But I'm looking forward to this event as a whole to kind of see some great matches here. I mean, we have Kota Ibushi. He's going to go up against Kenta, Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Tanahashi. Like all of these guys will have to wrestle each other at some point in time and create some great matchups. That's why when you look at Jon Moxley being in the other block, it keeps him away from Okada, keeps him away from Ibushi, keeps him away from Ospreay, Shingo, Tanahashi, keeps him away from Shingo's in his block. It keeps him away from a lot of people that are could be making big matches down the line. So that was done on purpose. Out of Block B, who do I see winning this? I mean, maybe Jay White. Out of that group, what I know, the limited stuff that I do know, maybe Jay White finds a way out and faces Tanahashi again in the final. Jay White's been doing good work as a heel, so let's see how that kind of plays out for him. But I really don't know too much about any of the individuals on this in this tournament to kind of say who's going to win. I know that Will Ospreay has been tearing it up as of late, and if you can go back and watch any of his recent matches, please do so. Like I said, he's been doing the damn thing, and he's been out there putting on a show time and time again. So if you have the time, you have some free time, you have a New Japan World account, go catch some of his matches because he's been killing it. But that's really all I know about G1 Climax. I'm looking forward to just being involved in the matches, watching the matches, trying to stay as up to date on them as I possibly can, because it's going to be my first time really sitting here watching it. But I'm going to go ahead and make a pick just so I can say I made one. And I'm going to go with Kota Ibushi just because of what I've seen from him. I've watched him extensively. His run in the Cruiserweight Classic is what got me intrigued in him as a wrestler. So, yeah, let's just go from there. The last topic I wanted to talk about was the Scarlett Bordeaux situation. So, sorry about that. But this past week, news broke that Scarlett Bordeaux was attacked or groped at one of at the AAA show she was working last week. So, and if you didn't see the video, she did a dive to the outside. She stands up and she's like clearly hyped from the moment, and a fan grabs her arm, pulls her back against the guardrail, and throws his arms around her to hug her. I think Sexy Star, one of the other women that was in the match, grabbed her and pulled her away. But it's clear that dude reached over, like pulled her and like grabbed her and like hugged her up. And even Scarlett's response was like she had no idea what was going on because she was so into the moment. But this is a problem. Like that was a serious problem because dude went way too far. Yeah, I mean, Scarlett, he wanted to touch her, whatever. That doesn't make it right. He has no right to touch her at all in any shape or form, regardless of who she is, what she's wearing, etc. So, like, let's not even bring that into the conversation. But this is a serious problem because he could have really have done something to her just because of, like, just from where he was. And, like, there was no response from security. Security wasn't fast enough, and like that. I've been to one AAA show, and the crowd could be pretty rowdy. So it was interesting to see that happen that way. What's kind of odd or unfortunate is that there was also a clip going around of a man getting patted on the ass when he's jumping back over the guardrail into the match, and people are trying to say this is the same thing. It's not. It's not anywhere close because it's just not the same thing. Uh, and honestly, we're gonna kind of call that as well too. Scarlett Bordeaux did not deserve that. Keep your hands off of the men and women who are performing for you. Just because you bought a ticket doesn't mean you have any stake of ownership in the product and the people that give their time, blood, sweat, and tears into this professional wrestling industry. Do not touch the people, especially do not touch the women. That's going way, way, way too far. On the other side of that coin, good news came out about Scarlett Bordeaux this week when she was released from her contract with Impact, which is going to allow her to pursue other organizations. And I think she's the biggest prospect or the biggest free agent in women's wrestling right now. She's everything that Sable was, and also she has a lot of wasn't. She's like a modern day Trish Stratus. She can actually, but she can wrestle as well too. Like she can definitely go. Um, so that shouldn't be that shouldn't be missed. I'm looking forward to what she does when she gets signed. I think she's going to go to AEW. But I mean, you best believe that WWE is going to roll out some money for her as well. So I'm just a big fan of Scarlett Bordeaux. Um, yeah, I'm a big fan of Scarlett Bordeaux and her work, and I'm hoping to see some good things from her. But all in all, that is today's episode 24 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. I wanted to say thank you again for anyone who's listening to our content and who's taking the time to do so. We are going to be continuing to iterate on this show, hopefully making some changes, hopefully building around the content that we're currently developing. So thank you again. Please be sure to like and subscribe, share our content, and everyone be safe on this first day of summer. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself, everyone, and have a great day and have a great week.